I became more patriotic when I left the US, and here's a few reasons why. Number one, I earn US currency and US dollars, which sustains me and affords me a life living abroad. The US currency, whether it's dropping, it's still a robust currency that sustains the lives of millions of Americans that relying on dividends, pensions, social security earnings, living relatively comfortable lives overseas without having to rely on local employment, without having to rely on social services of the foreign country that they've relocated to. So I think it's rather profound if we think and reflect upon how robust the US currency and economy is, that it's able to sustain expats around the world. Number two, living in the US allowed me the opportunity to go to school. Even if I had to pay for university, I had to pay for law school, I had to stick out student loans, I still had the opportunity to receive a higher advanced degree that allowed me to create my own economy and sustain me wherever I may end up in the world. I was afforded the opportunity to go to school as a woman of color. I think that's a profound attribute of the United States, where you can go to school, you can go to an Ivy League, or you could go to a community college, but you have the opportunity to be educated. It doesn't matter what gender you are, what creed you are, you have the opportunity to educate yourself. Number three, the US passport is welcome in the majority of countries around the world. Not only welcome, but there's almost a red carpet once you are an American. So you have to go through very few hurdles, even if you think about the visa requirements or the residency requirements of moving abroad. There's very little scrutiny relative to other people who are coming from other countries. Even though it could be a difficult and daunting process going to the consulate and meeting and going to the embassy, it's relatively smooth because you have a US passport. So I think it's time for people who are on the move abroad journey to start to count their blessings, that because they have a US passport, the world is really their oasis, their oyster. I think it's really critical for US passport holders who are considering moving abroad to start to count their blessings, realize even though they're despondent and discouraged and disappointed in many of the happenings and the policies in the US, it's because of the US they're able to relocate with relative ease just because they have a US passport. That people who immigrate from other countries to the US or to other countries face significant scrutiny and hurdles that Americans will never experience just because they have a US passport. The last thing I want to mention is the US passport not only gives you access to the majority of the world, you don't just have access, but for the most part, you have a red carpet opened up just because you are an American. But you're able to access healthcare at an affordable price compared to what you would access in the US. And I think that's ironic that Americans get access to affordable healthcare in any country that they relocate to, which is a driving force motivating most Americans to relocate, especially retirees as they start to think about their healthcare needs. It is because of the US passport that you get to go any, mini, miny, mo. No other reason. So I think it's important that in the Move Abroad community, we start to count our blessings and think about how the US has laid such a foundation for its Americans to succeed, not only in the US, but abroad. And that is how I became more patriotic when I moved abroad, just reflecting on the benefits of being a US citizen.